Hey, this is the national treasure, Nick Aldis, and you're listening to the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to another edition of the All Night Long Wrestling Podcast. We are your host. He's the Stallion. I am the Enforcer. And this week, we are joined by a very, very special guest. Returning to the show, the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, the 22nd Ring of Honor television champion, Shane Taylor, the man himself. Welcome back to the show, man. We really appreciate your time today.
Hey, man, thank you for having me. That's one hell of an intro, man. You know what I mean? The intros are so important, and you guys nailed it.
You gotta set the stage. That's what's most important, man. Listen, first and foremost, 2020, where are we? What's going on? How have you been handling it? Are you doing all right? How you been, keeping up since we're going 9 months now in March when all this started? How's your 2020 been? What's keeping you sane?
I mean, man, it's been wild, but luckily for me, my kids are safe and healthy. Wife is good, and I've been so focused on just making sure they're okay. I really don't have time to let anything else sink in. So obviously, the state of the country, the social unrest and all of that stuff is very important to me. So it's just been learning how to best make myself knowledgeable on that stuff, and then just taking care of my family, and that's all I've had time for, and finally getting back into doing what we do here is a much needed trying to think of the word.
Not a distraction, but almost like a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah. Just a much needed time away. You know what I mean? Just to refocus.
Sure. I mean, we've talked. It's funny. From Ring of Honor, we've had last couple months. We've had Amy Rose, Will Ferrara, Kellyanne, and everybody I talked to is from a different part of the country, right? And or the world. That part with Kellyanne. So like everybody has a different situation they're living in, but what state to state, what's happening, what the rules are, what the regulations are. For you, where you were in Cleveland the whole time?
I live in Houston, so I've been in Texas the whole time.
So I mean, Texas is pretty wild about it, right? There wasn't a lot of lockdowns, and they were kind of do your own thing, just don't be an idiot kind of thing.
I guess it was the weirdest stuff because like at first they were like letting each city kind of do what they wanted to do, and then that really didn't do anything. So then they had a shutdown, and then you had people complaining about they wanted to go to the bar, and we were like, shut up. You know what I mean? But like now they're like trying to figure out if they want to do it again or what's going on. But Texas, man, like it's the weirdest state because they don't want to like follow anybody's rules but their own.
I mean, being from New York over here, they were strict the entire time, and people were complaining. Like you said, they were complaining they want to go to the bar. Like, there are a couple more important things in life that you should be focusing on. This was a good time. And well, actually, in terms of you, as like a professional wrestler, somebody who's been wrestling consistently, do you feel like it was good to recoup your body, heal up some injuries, that kind of thing?
It was 100%. Like, it was crazy because I don't think that we realize just how much pain we deal with because we just block it out, right? Because your body just gets used to it.
That's your homeostasis, like your normal level of pain. Like, right, it's like the normal level of pain. You don't know what it's like not having that pain.
Right. Like it's just your normal, right? So it was like, those first few months, I was healing up a shoulder. I had torn my shoulder when I was in the UK against Joe Hendry, and was just going to keep wrestling and keep going until I couldn't. And then that time off allowed me to heal. And once I started again, I felt better, but I realized just how much of a toll it takes on your body to do this. Those first few matches back, I was like, oh, holy shit, that hurts. Like,
you wake up the next day, you're like, oh, now I remember what this feels like, right?
Yeah, it was like, oh, what am I? Oh my god, like, oh shit, it was tough.
Well,
But
you didn't have an easy stretch back into the ring, which I want to get to, but I want to point out the last time you were on the show was May of 2018, or I think it was about May of 2018. It was Keith Lee had left Ring of Honor. You were making some very bold claims saying what you were going to be able to do, given the chance as a single star. And since that, you have formed Shane Taylor Promotions. You won the Ring of Honor title. You had probably the most lucrative contract you signed in Ring of Honor. You are what they say, a man of your word. I mean, you had that tunnel vision back then in 2018, and you said you need an opportunity. And now it's funny when you watch Ring of Honor TV week to week, which you've been starring on the last almost 4 or 5 weeks. The mentions there of Shane Taylor, the the hashtag match of the night, everything you said 2.5 years ago, not everything, of course you have longer term goals, but has been put in place and come to fruition. So what changed, or what changed 2 years ago?
I mean, I was just tapping into what my mindset has been the entire time. Like me and Keith talked about, my job was to be a star with or without him, right? And when you're by yourself, now there is nobody else to lean on, right? You're the only one. There's guys that I
figuratively and physically no tagging out, right?
Right. There is no tagging out. You know what I mean? Like, all the guys that I came in with are gone. So there's no one to watch your back. There's no one, like, you are forced to do it sink or swim. You know what I mean? So I have the belief in myself and my skills. I have the utmost confidence in them that, given an opportunity, I can be that main event player. And that's all I've ever said was, you let me do this one time and take the chains off of me, and look at what you get. And I think I've been able to prove that over the last few years and become one of the best and most consistent performers, not even just in Ring of Honor.
I think we may have lost Shane. I think he's back.
Oh, there we go. Right there you go. You're back. As
Good.
you were saying, most consistent. No, it's cool. Like you said, not only most consistent in Ring of Honor, but most consistent wrestlers out there. And what you're able to do in the ring, when you look at the types of opponents you're able to do with every single different type of opponent. It's not like you need a small guy to throw, like Brody King, Bandito, Kenny King in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Those are 3 completely different types of opponents, and you're able to be Shane Taylor and do Shane Taylor stuff in the ring. And I think that's why, well-versed is a good word, but being consistent. And, the fans are absolutely taking note of that. And I think that's great. And I want to talk about your Ring of Honor TV title run, because it was 7 months. It was almost 6 or 7 months with the Ring of Honor TV title. And you had a hell of a run. As I mentioned, guys like Bandito, the 4-way with Brody King. What does the Ring of Honor TV title mean to you? And as a TV champion, a lot of people are like, oh, you're the number 1 contender for the championship. What does the Ring of Honor TV title mean?
Man, that's a great question. I think the TV title means different things to different people. But for me, it meant my first opportunity to make history. Ring of Honor has been around for 18 years now. And in that time, there have only been 3 African-American males to hold that championship: myself, Kenny King, and Jay Lethal. So it was very important for me to be able to add my name to that list, because one of my goals, while I want to entertain everybody and I want to give a product that everybody can relate to, I know who I am and I know where I come from. I know who I represent. And when people watch TV, I want the little kids in cities where I come from to be able to look at me and go, all right, if he can do it, I can do it. Right. there's a different option out there. And being able to add my name to that legacy meant the world, and do so on my own terms. And what I mean by that is, in professional wrestling, especially when you're dealing with African American talent, there tends to be this stereotype that's put around us, and these gimmick characters that don't necessarily reflect what our actual culture is. And even though I come from a street background, I'm not going to represent that and make it a negative thing that gets passed to these kids, every day, right? I'm not going to be a pimp. I'm not going to be a drug dealer. I'm not going to be some negative stereotype of Black culture in order to, make myself seem more marketable. That's just not what it's not what I think. It's not what I believe. So being able to do that and have that run on my own terms, doing it my way, was very, very important. And being able to have that platform on a stage like Ring of Honor was great.
Yeah, and you never once kind of wavered from who you are. People could see that on your social, whether it be on your social media, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, or on Ring of Honor TV. Like, that's the person, right. That's who Shane Taylor is in every facet of life. So I think it's so cool, to be somebody who's so true. And like you said, you don't want to perpetuate that stereotype. Well, you definitely broke out with Shane Taylor Promotions. That's you. Shane Taylor Promotions, to me, is a combination between the money team of Floyd Mayweather and Tully Blanchard Enterprises. That's the best way I can think about it. So how did you come up with Shane Taylor Promotions? Was that you just betting on yourself and saying, this is what I'm doing, Ring of Honor, meet my demands, I'm a free agent, pretty much F you, pay me kind of thing?
I mean, basically, and you nailed it. I'm a huge boxing fan, right? So there are elements of Floyd to it. I love the fact that he was a businessman that owned his own name, likeness, and was like, hey, if you're going to make money off of me, I might as well have a seat at the table. When you're dealing with business stuff, right? A lot of people see professional wrestling relationships as employer and employee, and you should just be lucky to be here and yada, 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 which is understandable. There's only so many spots. So yes, it's lucky to have this platform. But at the end of the day, these are business to business transactions. That's what this is. You're providing a platform. I'm providing the talent, and we're looking to make money together. And equity and ownership of your name and image is important. And those are lessons that I want to be able to teach to my community, So not only am I a fan of boxing, but I get to do what I love to do and also teach little life lessons along the way. And Shane Taylor as a character is every bit of my personality, but I take little things from guys that I've respected over the years and combine that, the showmanship and the ability to trash talk like Floyd, the in-ring violence of Mike Tyson, but yet still have the social responsibility and leadership of an Ali. And I take every bit of those attributes from those men and roll it up into one character, and you got Shane Taylor.
And Shane Taylor Promotions earlier, well, I guess it was the end of last year, you welcomed two more guys to the group. That was Moses and Calm, the Soldiers of Savagery. Why were they right for Shane Taylor and Shane Taylor Promotions?
Because they fit like a glove. You're talking about two guys who are young, hungry, have been busting their ass, not only on the independent scene, but in the ring, in the dojo at Ring of Honor. And when I talk to them, their mindsets, teams are all about synergy, right? You have to have the right pieces at the right time and everybody be on the same page. And in talking to them, everything that I was thinking, they were thinking. When we're talking not only, with wrestling, but when it comes to what we want to do in the community and things, how we want to represent ourselves. Everything just lined up perfectly. and people are starting to see now. It's taken 1 year, and they went from people that, got guys that people weren't sure about to people that everybody knows are now undoubtedly future Ring of Honor tag champions. You know what I mean? So this is just the beginning, and a year from now, people are going to see what I see in them, and they could be one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah, and most recently, the match they had with the Briscoe brothers, who I think are criminally underrated for everything they've done in Ring of Honor for the last 20 years, was it was a hell of a match. And then the respect shown at the end, I thought that was Ring of Honor has been doing some really cool stuff, and I'm glad those guys, as you mentioned, are getting a chance to show what they're capable of. Now, the Ring of Honor, everybody that we talked to that worked for Ring of Honor said during this whole pandemic, they were very good to the performers, and I think that's super important. I know they would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, they've gone out of their way to make sure that not only did people continue to get paid, but they've gone above and beyond with the Maryland Athletic Commission to make sure we're in the bubble right now, and make sure that people are safe and they're being tested, and we're putting on the best possible show under the safest conditions possible to make sure that no one's getting sick or taking it back to their families.
What is the situation like in the bubble? Walk me through like what it's like getting in there and what they kind of have to do to you over there.
I mean, essentially, as soon as you step off the plane, they have individual rides for you. They get you to the hotel. They check you in. And as soon as you get checked in, you are straight to the room, straight to isolation. There's no going back and forth between the rooms, and you're just in your room chilling. It almost feels like jail, right? But the nicest jail cell.
It's kind of like being grounded when you're a kid, right?
Right, but it's the nicest room ever. You know what I mean? So you're chilling here, and guys will complain about Wi-Fi or something like that, but it's pretty awesome. So it's just filling up the time and just occupying yourself, which I use to tape study or work out or play games or whatever you need to do to get your mind right. And you're just waiting for more tests and getting ready to do your thing.
All right. Well, you said two things in there. I got to ask. Tape study. What are you studying? Who are you studying?
Oh man, I try to study a little bit of everybody. I'll look back and look at some old stuff on YouTube, whether it's Vader matches or Stan Hansen stuff. I check out a lot of the current products, just to see what's going on, keep myself abreast to what guys are doing. There are so many guys right now and ladies doing absolutely great stuff. And I just want to be able to use my platform to not only push the stuff that I'm doing, but if I see somebody in another company is doing great stuff, to be able to share that as well. Especially in today's era of social media, everybody wants to be so negative. It's enough of that shit, man. There's enough negative shit in the world that it doesn't got to come from me. You know what I mean? So, for example, Chris Bay and Rich Swann just had a main event pay-per-view on Impact. And someone brought up a fact. Darius Lockhart found a fact that it was like only the second time in the history of pro wrestling that two African American males main evented a pay-per-view for the company's top championship. Second time in the history of professional wrestling that's happened. And when I saw that, I had to take a moment to just shout them out and congratulate them on making history and being leaders and continue to, blaze this trail of progress that we're trying to carve out, because that shouldn't be a thing that's abnormal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It shouldn't have to be a stat that people look up, like it shouldn't stand out so much when you're like, oh, wait, when that it's,
right.
That's, well, first and foremost, congratulations for them, but
Absolutely. As happy as I am that it's special, I don't want it to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
100%. You wanted that to be the norm, not the exception to the rule, not the rule, you know?
Exactly.
And you said gaming. What are you playing? You got a PS5 in there? What do you got?
Still going with the PS4. Here's my thing about that, right? Every time these systems come out, bro, there's weird stuff that happens. They just start random catching on fire and shit. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'll let folks beta test it for the first 3-4 months or so, and then when it's cool, I'll go ahead and grab one.
Dude, it's like the same way with the new iPhone. You know, you get it in the first 2 weeks, it's blowing up in your pocket or something like that. Let everybody else get the kicks out, and then you get your thing, right?
Bro, imagine walking down the street and just bang. You know what I mean? Over this like little car that you paid for. I've paid for cars in my life that were less than the iPhone, right? So that's the way my mind works.
Well, you know what? Looking long term, looking for 4 or 5 years down the road, not 4 or 5 days down the road. So I can respect that. What are you playing on the PlayStation 4?
Right now I've got MLB The Show in, but I'm a huge sports title guy. So your 2Ks, Madden, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, hype on that right now. Not such a fan of the new one, but Modern Warfare is cool, and then me and the guys still play Black Ops 4 and get it rocking on there. So a little bit of everything.
I'm a sports game guy too. I'm 34, so I grew up on the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis. I feel like either I'm getting dumber as I get older, or the games are getting so much more. There's so many buttons. It's so complex. Give me Madden. I know what I'm playing. I don't want to hold right trigger, strafe right. Like, no, I mean, give me my 4 or my 6 button, and that's all I need. Some of the Call of Duty, man, right. You have to have game tight hand-eye coordination just to play those games. So
that's why I love it so much, though. Is it keeps, especially being inside, like I can't get to boxing class or anything else. You know what I mean? So it's like it keeps my hand-eye coordination sharp, and I'm good with most games except when it comes to 2K, right? Because you've got these guys dribbling the way they do, and I'm like, yo, you're doing too much. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. I don't know if it's the game or is it just or how I see basketball played. Just as like back in my day, we preach fundamentals. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. That's the only game that I'm like, there's too many buttons.
See, if you're talking 2K to me, I'm going NBA Jam Tournament Edition. That's where I'll stay. I'll keep my Ewing and my Starks. That's my 2-on-2 team, my Penny and my Shaq, and I'm good.
You know what I mean? Let's do it.
I'll keep it 1995 as much as I can. That's so cool to hear what they're doing over there in the bubble and how they're keeping you guys safe. Ring of Honor, they also, I feel like they did a really good job during this whole pandemic of stepping up their social media game. They were pumping out content on social media every single day. Quinn McKay was doing great interviews, and now even on the weekly show, it's more like Friday Night Fights, where you have like 2 or 3 fights with backstory to all the stuff. Do you think that's going to be if and when this pandemic ends? Who knows? Is that going to be a direction they go in with a little more of the storytelling? Because it's such an easy watch. Ring of Honor. I think they do such a good job of getting you invested, even if you're a first time watcher.
I really hope so, because that's kind of what I've been saying this entire time. We have so much talent here that all they need is the opportunity and the time to be able to showcase it. I've been saying that for years, and it seems like this is what it took to be able to sort of reset things to get to that point. And I know once things kind of get back to normal and we get a lot of our overseas talent back, it's going to be a little harder to do that and take that time. But man, it has been so eye-opening and so refreshing to see so many people get the time and the chances that they deserved, because now we have now there's room, now there's time, right? Yeah. So I don't know if that means making it another hour or they need to do more social media stuff or what the case is, but as long as people are getting to continue to tell their stories and have this time, I'm all for it. But yeah, I love big fight, feel everything. That's exactly how I wanted my title run to be. So this is right up my alley.
Yeah, and like even the video packages that tell the story. I mean, when the Briscoes and the Soldiers of Savagery, they were having that back and forth promo in the back. I'm like, oh man, I was ready for that. And listen, nobody could talk in the world like a Jay Briscoe. To me, that guy could talk me into a curling event. But then, the SOS on the other side, I was like, oh man, I can't wait for this match. And it's so refreshing because it's a different presentation than anything else you're seeing on TV right now. And I'm glad you mentioned Vader and Brody earlier because you and Brody King last week or 2 weeks ago, man, that was what do they call it? A hoss fight? Or it kind of, but it wasn't because it was it got such a emotional investment out of me. You guys beat the absolute hell out of each other. It was a number one contenders match for the title. Unfortunately, did not go your way, but have no fear. Now it's Shane Taylor Promotions versus the Mexi Squad for the 6-man tag titles at Final Battle. So even though it didn't go your way, they see the writing on the wall here, and you got that 6-man title shot. Is that a good consolation for you, or would you prefer, it's tough, I know.
Right. I mean, I'm not a guy that does consolation or moral victories, right? You either get your objective or you don't. You see what I'm saying? But there were 3 goals that I had when I came back to Ring of Honor. That was to have the highest per fight deal in the history of the company. I achieved that. It was to guarantee myself a shot at the World Championship at some point. I still have that in my back pocket. And to help Khan and Moses win Ring of Honor Gold and help them start what their legacies are going to be. I get to achieve that at Final Battle, right? So everything that I set out to do, I'm in position to do. And so to be able to have that chance and help lead them to their first championship is something that I'm taking very seriously. And I can't wait to do it. They've earned it. They put in the work, and now it's time to go get it done.
And of course, it's going to be Ray Horse, Bandito, and Flamita, a couple of guys you are very, very familiar with. I look forward to that match. I think it's going to be the show stealer. I mean, you could say the show stealer, but how many times have we talked about a Shane Taylor match and we say it steals the show? At that point, like, I don't want to, beat a dead horse here. It's like match of the night kind of thing. It's going to be what we expect at this point. The bar is up here, so it's not going to be the show stealer. You're going to get what you think you're going to get in that match. How long are you guys in the bubble for? Is it like a week and you tape a bunch of shows in there, or how long do they actually have you?
Yeah, we're here for about a week. We take the first few days. Everybody gets tested. And then as we get into the Fridays and Saturdays, we get everything done. Sometimes longer if guys need to stay a little longer to get things done. But yeah, we make sure that everybody's good to go, and we take as many days as possible once people fly in to do that, and then we're off and rolling.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, Ring of Honor Club. It's going to be. I think I saw Joe was talking earlier about 9 or 10 matches now. It's got the potential to be one of the cards of the year. Before I let you go, I got a couple of quick questions here from the Twitterverse. Number one, I think I know the answer, but did you see the Mike Tyson fight?
Yes, I did, and what a payday it was for Mike and Roy. You know what I mean? But it's that went probably the way I wanted it to go. If I'm being a real fan, right? If I'm being selfish, I want Tyson to go knock out Roy. But I love Roy. Roy's one of my top 5 of all time. So I didn't want to see Roy get knocked out, right? And if anybody's been watching boxing for the last 10 years, like, Roy's chin is shot, and that's no shot at Roy. It is what it is. Everybody's chin goes at some point. So when you're getting touched up by Joe Calzaghe and getting stunned, I see you getting in there with Tyson. I'm thinking you're about to die. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh no, don't do it. No, right? But for them to go out there and do what they did and give the fans that nostalgia was great. I'm glad they got paid, and now they're talking about maybe a third fight between Holyfield and Tyson or some crazy shit like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of here for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of here for it.
You want to create a whole Legends division? I'm also here for it. And anybody that wants to talk shit about how the fight went, Mike lost 125 pounds, 52 years old. The guy got in great shape. They went out there, they put on a battle, but you don't want to see either one of them get hurt. That's the thing, too, you know? So absolutely. I think as a fan, I agree with you. It went exactly. And it went to a draw. Mike won that fight. I don't care what anybody says. Mike looked sharp.
Right.
You know, but like you said, good for them. They got a payday. Okay. What do you think of AEW work with other promotions? Is that something that Ring of Honor would you be interested in, do you think? And if so, who do you want to wrestle?
I mean, I can't speak for what Ring of Honor wants to do. You know, they've been partnering with New Japan, so they work with other companies. But good for them. You know what I mean? Good for them. If it helps more people create, you know, long-term wealth and gives more people opportunities, I'm all for it. You know, so congratulations to them, to Impact. That's fantastic. You know, for me, I've always been about wanting to prove that I'm the best and compete with the very best. So if there's a world in which that happens, great. Give me Kenny Omega. Let's really see what's up. You know what I'm saying?
Battle V triggers. Okay. I'm here for that.
Bro,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, give me, you know, I am someone that I don't care what your reputation is. And I've kept this same mentality throughout my entire sports career, right? From middle school football and wrestling to now. I don't care what your reputation is. You need to prove it to me. I'm not going to give you anything until you come and step to me and prove it to me. So until someone proves that they're better than me to me, then I'm the best. And that's what my mind is.
And that's, you know, your Twitter followers can only get you so far to some people, you know, like it's like you might have 1 million Twitter followers. What are you going to do in the ring? So no, I'm with you.
Bro, you know exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. There's so many cats that live off that. And it's like, bro, once we're in the ring, those tweets aren't helping you. None of that works for you. You know what I mean? So it's just you, me, and the truth. And we're about to find out.
No, I'm here for you on that. Well, this one question's from me. Logan Paul and Mayweather? Who's going to sanction that?
Oh my God. This is the crazy thing about that, right? I don't see other than money, which I don't think Floyd's going to get $100 million for it. Like, why take the risk? Like, okay, let's just
imagine Floyd slips on a banana peel or there's Eddie just
oh my God, bro, that would be the worst thing for the culture ever. Like, that would be the worst.
Everything for professional boxers. Mayweather got knocked out by a YouTube star. You know, nobody wins in that situation. Why are they doing this?
Nobody wins because, like, with the McGregor fight, he's a legitimate, you know, a legitimate threat and top guy from another combat sport, right? So
with the mentality to train 8 hours a day with the mindset, you can't. 100%.
Right. The dedication to the craft is there. This is like, who is this dude, right? And so
I didn't know who he was.
Bro, it's wild. Like I'm just and then if he just mops the floor with the guy, he should have.
Right.
Like, what's the
exactly? You win. He gets nothing from this but a payday, and that's, you know, at the end.
It's like if you were to get into a fight with your little brother and you win, you're like, yeah, you were supposed to. You know what I mean? But if you take that L, you will never hear the end of it. You never.
You gotta go into hiding. You don't come out. I mean, and really, like,
y'all think Nate Robinson got it bad. Oh man, just wait.
There's two sides of that. Like, people are like, back off him because he tried something new, which I get that. But the other thing is, as a man, you're going to step in the ring, whether you're prepared or unprepared, shit's going to happen. So I just don't like the disrespectful stuff towards him. You could say, yeah, he got his ass kicked. That's like somebody who's never, I think Matt Serra, former UFC fighter, he's like, He goes, "You're talking like an expert swimmer who's never gotten the pool," and that stuck with me. Yeah, that's like everybody on the Twitter. They have, like you said about the negative social media, but no, that was rough to watch.
Bro, this is what I've been saying, and I just had a tweet just like a week or so ago, and I was like, "Yo, everybody that y'all are talking about is not from this era. Like, I'm on social media, but I'm not part of the social media era. Like, that's not how I grew up, right? Got people that grew up the way I did, and I'm sure the way you did. If you talk about me, at some point, I'm gonna see you. At some point, we're gonna run into each other.
Right.
And when we do, don't be talking police or like don't talk litigation when I see you because we're gonna have a problem.
Right.
And
I'm not writing a letter to somebody like shit talking in Canada, writing a letter to you. It's like now you could do that on social media.
You know what I mean? Like social media has gotten people so bold and so, expectant that there are no consequences for the things that you say. And it's like, bro, you can say whatever you want, but you don't have freedom of consequence. That's not a thing.
I like that. You have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of consequence. That's
right. When they see you from all the shit you've been talking and you get smacked up, don't act surprised.
It's kind of like when Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith say some of the dumbest shit I ever heard. And like, you just look at them and you're like, come. And then you got Michael we're going off on a combat sports tangent, but Michael Rappaport was complaining that Daniel Cormier grappled too much in his win when he beat, I think it was Stipe Miocic. I'm like, who? Michael Rappaport, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about. You've never been in a fight in your life. It's people that think they're professionals, that their opinion means literally nothing.
It's like, bro, my job is to outstrike, out-grapple, out-submit, or do whatever it is I need to do to beat my opponent to make sure I win and provide for my family. If I'm an Olympic caliber wrestler, what did you think I was going to do?
He's like, it's Madison Square Garden. The history here, he should have thrown punches. I'm like, I'm dumber for hearing what you have to say sometimes. I really am
these are all guys that like never made it past like middle school sports. They have no idea as to what it takes to be not only great but elite at what you do. You know what I mean? You're a different class of athlete, man, and a lot of people just don't get it.
No, and they make money off of their opinions, which is what really baffles my mind. But then you got people like me listening to it, getting mad. I'm like, he won, he did what he wanted. I'm just
the fact that we're talking about him right now, he won, right? The fact that he's even in conversation right now, he wins. You know what I mean?
I've been holding on to this feeling for like 2.5 years now, and I get mad like every couple of days.
Not the only one. You are not the only one. There's times where I'm like, am I crazy? Is it me? You know what I mean? And then it's like, no, it's not me. You know what I mean?
It really isn't you. It really is society. And I completely agree with you with the whole social media generation. I don't know when that age gap was. Maybe you could put I feel like 26, 27 and up, you're different than the 26 and 27 and below. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe that puts it at, I don't know, 1992, 1993.
Like, I appreciate what social media can do and how it connects us all and the business aspects and social aspects of it. But like with anything, there's good and there's bad. You know what I mean? Like, use it to your advantage, use it to help build your platform, use it to help connect us all. But when you start getting disrespectful and threatening people and all kind of stuff like that, that's where I got to draw the line. You know what I mean? Because there's still lines that you just don't cross. I don't care if it's in real life or over social media. You just don't cross those lines.
So karma comes around full circle. I do believe in people. So it's not, in 2020, it's not hard to be a good person. It really isn't. Maybe going into 2021, that could be everybody's New Year's resolution. Who knows? More, probably not, but we could hope. Listen, I don't want to keep you any longer, man. I do want to let people know you have merch on ringofhonorwrestling.com and prowrestlingtees.com/Shane Taylor. You've got some awesome merch out there. The Pretty Bear Killer shirt, by the way, is still one of my favorite. That's that's a golden throwback. But I wish you nothing but the best of luck at Final Battle, Shane. And please tell us everybody where we could find you and track you on social media, because you are very intellectual and you have a really good positive message out there. So I want to make sure people take advantage of that.
Thank you for that, man. And yeah, at Twitter and Instagram at Shane216 Taylor. Be very sure that you keep an eye and you follow those, because Shane Taylor Promotions is going to make a very big announcement soon. Just a way for us to give back to the people who've been supporting us for so long, trying to help out in these tough times. But yeah, if you're in the merch buying mood, head on over to ROHWrestling.com, check out the Pro Shop, or ProWrestlingTees.com/Shane Taylor, as you mentioned. Plenty of great stuff there. And just want to thank you all for the support for the last 13 years, for the run that we've been on now, and it is only the beginning.
And the next time we'll be talking to Shane Taylor, he'll be a Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Champion. Shane Taylor Promotions, the CEO himself. Shane, thank you so much for your time, man. We appreciate it. Best of luck to you. Stay healthy and have fun at Final Battle.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Take care.
All right.
Best friends.